Well, it does. It feels like we're just in here, but what is new is this week get an opportunity to get ready for Washington State, and you talk to the group today, and I think every week you got to find ways that you can improve, and certainly, from week 1 to week 2, there's a lot that we can improve upon, and yet, like I told you afterwards, I liked a lot of what we did. I thought the effort and the way they went about things was good, and you look at the film and each individual, each group, us as a team, there's areas where we can need to get better and can get better, and doing it against a good opponent. So need to have a good week of preparation, and looking forward to that.
Mike on both sides.
Flag one down, Jeff.
Well, I know Jim played a lot of safeties in week 1, I think at least 6, but a couple guys that we haven't seen, Latu, what did you see from him? And also Toller in his first action in a couple of years. What did you see from those guys when you review how they played?
Yeah, I mean, it was, they kind of showed up. Titus had a nice fit on the one run, and Moy showed up a number of times, and also in the run game and in the pass game made a good play, and heck, you saw him on special teams. Oh, Preston Zachman, hadn't played, was good, and so it was, certainly with Torch. Even Torch, it's a new role for him, and he was the guy that last year came in and certainly made an impact, but they've all kind of got a new role, and I think like the way it started, and certainly, like you kind of said with the whole group, there's areas we got to keep growing.
Paul, you mentioned that you liked the pass protection on Saturday. How would you assess how Jack Nelson played his first game at left tackle?
Yeah, I thought that certainly, it's going to be like every guy, and there's some good, and it's a different feel, and certainly he's had spring ball and fall camp, but it's you continually going to improve with play, I think. Same thing I thought, Beecher, moving inside, did some good stuff, and we all got to keep going. But I thought, Nelly was good on a number of plays, and there's some things that he can certainly work on this week.
Well, Jim, you guys held out a couple of your corners. Alexander Smith and Clark had been banged up.
Right.
They're not on the status report this week. Will you have to see how they perform in practice to make sure they're sound, or have you seen them practice already?
I think we'll be able to find out more this week, particularly with Justin, and kind of where he's at. It's been going well for him, and yet, getting a good tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday practice out of him. Then I think we're optimistic, certainly, but you got to, we're going to need those practice days.
Paul, with Hayden Rucci having his first couple of collegiate receptions in his 4th year, just how have you seen him evolve as a player, but also, as a potential pass catcher within this offense?
Yeah, I think that, credit to him, for the work he's put in, and I think that he's like a lot of our guys, that they need to be, those situations he was in, and I thought Graham made a good decision on it, and then they've got to be able to deliver, in the passing game as much as in the run game, and I think that whole tight end group is one that we feel good about. They just got to continue to play, and gain that experience, and I know they've been in game situations, but they just got to continue their roles a little bit different now, and they got to keep growing.
Mark?
Paul, I just want to get your thoughts on your inside linebackers, Muma and Jordan, and what did they show you? What stood out about them last week?
Yeah, I thought they you felt them, and they showed up. I thought they number of plays where they believed what they saw and triggered on it, and I thought made some really impactful plays, and that was good to see. That they're trusting themselves and trusting what they're seeing, and I thought they played fast, so that was a good first game for both of them.
Paul, kind of a two-parter for you on
back on quarterback situation. With Miles, do you try to get him a few more extra reps during the week compared to what you would give Chase, who's been around this program for a while?
You know, ideally, you'd like to, you know, we're talking about, because Miles, and you still want to get Deacon some, but you still got to start, I think, with Graham. You know, and making sure that he's got the right amount of reps and the looks that he needs to see, and so I think that maybe a couple more, and yet, you know, like Chase was so good at when we were doing, you know, anything where we go like our second offense versus our one defense. Chase found a way to really make those good reps for him, and I think that, you know, the young guys are learning to do that. You know, so you felt like Chase was ahead a little bit when he was going into game week preparation, but I think you still got to make sure that you kind of start from the top down. You got to make sure that we're getting what we need from Graham, and then certainly you got to get then the other guys the reps.
So my follow-up would be how important is it for them to do work away from the practice field, like in the media room? Like,
big.
How do you get a guy ready?
Yeah.
Away?
Well, I mean, they've been going. I think it's just trying to reinforce what they know and go through it. And that's where it's been nice. You know, school doesn't start quite yet, and that's been helpful with the time, the extra time that you can have. And you know, credit to Chase. Chase is taking them. You know, when we're busy, you know, he's grabbing them. And then there's some parts where you just gotta do it on your own. But you gotta make sure that they're studying it and learning it the right way. And so, absolutely, you know, time away. And like I said, you know, school doesn't start for a couple days, and there is time for them to do that.
Steve?
Just with Bowler, any timetable, any estimate on just how long he might be out for?
Yeah, you know, don't know for sure, but I think it'll be a bit of time, you know, and hate to see that. And actually did it, I think, a play before, but it'll be a bit.
Another question for you about Miles. It's not very often that a true freshman quarterback plays, especially this early in the season. Obviously, there's circumstances because of that, but what is it about Miles' skill set that stands out to you? What is it that you like about his ability?
Yeah, I think, you know, I've liked the way that he's kind of come in and, you know, came early and he's always trying to learn, you know, and even when, you know, there's times when I know he's not getting the reps, but I know he's working at it. You see it even on the side sometimes in practice, you know, kind of going through it, and you know, certainly all those guys who feel like they've got a skill set, you know, a talent with them. But I've liked the way that he's approached it, and he's got kind of his demeanor's been good too. You know, I think he's got kind of had the right balance there. I think he's certainly got some urgency to him, but also level-headed enough where it doesn't get too big.
Leah in the back.
Coach Nakia Watson had a solid performance last weekend for Washington State. With him coming back here this weekend, what kind of threat does he present, and what type of player was he when he was here at Wisconsin? Yeah, I mean, I like Nakia and appreciate when he was here and being around him, and you know, the threat that he poses is he's part of a good offense that our defense has to stop. You know, and it's not about Nakia. You know, he's got teammates here that know him well and certainly appreciate him. Guys, we all liked having him on this team, but you know, it's Wisconsin versus Washington State, and he's their back, and so I think it's the whole unit that we got to defend, not just get caught up in one person.
Cool.
Oh, I know this is a couple of months ago, but you and the running back group were able to go to Gary Brown's celebration of life back in June. Just what was that experience like, having that whole group together and being able to do that?
Yeah, it was certainly a powerful day. I was glad to be able to share. You know, I think we're all glad to be with each other, and kind of the whole process hit us all differently, probably, but significantly, and even the celebration of life was, you know, well after, it wasn't that weekend. It wasn't, shortly after. And it was something that I think we're all felt fortunate to be able to do. But when we say that, we know that none of us wanted to be there. But it was a good, tough day.
Paul, I know Ches didn't get a lot of carries Saturday night, but I'm just curious if you saw whether it was him being decisive, confident in the knee. Did you see the same runner on Saturday that you saw in camp as he was progressing from that injury?
Yeah, I thought, heck, even we talked about that a little bit. Just we didn't have a ton of plays. It was a different rhythm to that game. But I don't think I'm imagining this. I thought he ran really well and hard, and did see that in camp. So it wasn't what he did the other day. It wasn't, geez, he's been holding back, or it's been consistent. I've loved the way that he's approached, really from the first day of camp. And certainly in the summer, and it was hard for him in the spring not being able to go. But I thought that he just continues to work, and I thought he ran really well. I thought, at times I think a back can get to where you try to create. So I thought he was I thought he had a decent balance of that patience, but then I thought he ran behind his pads, and it was fun to see. He had some good, tough yards and yards after contact. It was good, and I mean, you look at it, and I don't think any of the backs really got a ton of carries. We didn't have a ton of plays.
Chryst.
Paul, is there any difference preparing for Washington State, a Power 5 team, as opposed to Illinois State, an FCS team?
Not what you're saying as far as where they're from. I mean, the common part is that you're preparing for a game, and I think there's steps that you've got to take, and I think that we all, these game opportunities are limited, and we've always believed that how do you maximize it, and what can't change is your respect for the game, and your respect for the opponent, and the respect for the work that has to be done to get yourself ready to play. And so in that regard, I don't care who you're playing. You think about it, you gotta try to focus on the things that you can impact or you can control, and we can control our preparation. What's different is, it's a different style of offense. It's a different defense. Each week there's going to be differences, and then each week there's got to be some of the same common themes, and we're preparing for an opportunity, and we're talking about it right now, and we'll talk about it every game. The games aren't guaranteed for players. We got a schedule, but you want to be able to make the most of the opportunities you get, and we got one coming up this Saturday against a really good team, and how do you maximize that? It's in your preparation, and you're preparing. Heck, we're focusing in this weekend, but you're preparing all year for these game opportunities. And we've got guys, that didn't get to play in the first game. We spend every Monday when we're talking about who's going to go, who's not going to go. When you get a chance to go and you get a chance to play this game, there's nothing better. And so the way you prepare it's the most important thing going.
Torchio obviously had that big play Saturday. I was just wondering, during the offseason, what did you see in him in terms of the way he was able to kind of lead that safety group, and what's the biggest way in which he's kind of grown over the last year to kind of accept this bigger role this year?
I think one of the things I really like and admire about Torch is he's consistent of who he is. He didn't all of a sudden try to flip a switch and say, all right, I'm the oldest safety in this room, I'm going to become this person, and I think and guys respect that. I think guys certainly respect him, and I think they respect him because he's consistent with who he is, and he's always been a good teammate. He's always been locked in, and he's smart, he'll communicate, but it's not like, and I appreciate the fact he didn't try to, he's aware of it, he's going to help whoever needs the help when they need the help, and he's also going to take coaching and take assistance. He doesn't think he's got all the answers either, but Torch is going to stay Torch, and think that's good for that room.
Time for one more. Sure.
Kind of a follow-up on Torchio. How would you describe the way he plays pass coverage in it? I don't want to say that he baits the quarterback into throwing, but there's been a couple times where it looks like he really reads it well and anticipates where that ball is going to go, like last year at Purdue and then Saturday night.
Yeah, I think that, I think he's, what he looks like to me, and I think that's credit to Torch for taking the coaching, but truly playing the position. When he's out there, I think he's playing football. He's not, he understands what we're trying to do within our defense. I think he also understands what offenses are trying to do, which then allows him to play. And so when I watch him, to me, it looks like he's playing it. He's thinking. I'm not saying it's easy, but he's playing the game, and I think that's a credit to he's taken the coaching, but applying it, and that's what's been fun to see.